Hi guys, it's Mina. I have nothing to do, so I'm going to read you guys a book, and I'm going to read you Maria the Beautiful. And this is actually a book that I published and wrote when I was I wrote this when I was like 16 years old, and 16, I think it was 15. I wrote this when I was 15, and I got it published when I was 17. And I published this on Lulu.com, so this is what the cover looks like, and this is what the side. It accidentally says Mina the Beautiful when it was supposed to say Maria. Yeah, so this is the copy I got, and I'm going to read this story to you guys. And there's no pictures in it. Maria was a homeless orphan scullery maid. Maria was born in a large nursing home where all the pregnant mothers had a safe place to give birth. The other spoiled girls who were Maria's age in the village of Surrey, England, treated her like dirt because they were all jealous of her beauty. Maria was the only child of a widowed scullery maid. She had eyes as blue as the ocean. She also had a broken heart because of how the girls treated her. Her black whiskers on her pig nose would twitch every time she sneezed. She had a thin gray body. She had a face so charming that all of the young male villagers would stalk and stare at her when she wasn't looking because they all wanted to win her heart, but they all remembered her saying that she felt too young for a husband. Maria never knew what it felt like to fall in love, but she always wanted to know how it felt. She spoke in a slight but perfect British accent. She was very kind and loved children. She had always worn a purple shawl that had belonged to her mother. She perished away after giving birth to Maria from a broken heart because her husband was found wounded in the fight for England's rights, and he passed away 5 days prior to her giving birth. Maria had been gifted with something that no newborn baby had ever been gifted with. She had her mother's young beauty. Maria's mother was named Maria too, and that's who she was named after. Maria looked exactly like her mother because her mother had blue eyes, a thin gray body before she was pregnant with Maria. She also had black whiskers. She spoke in a perfect British accent. She also had Maria's pink nose. A nursemaid helped put Maria and his mother in a coffin. The maid was gray. She was also thin. She had green eyes. The maid wore a white apron. She also wore a hat with a red cross on it. The maid had wrapped Maria in the shawl and placed her in a kindly orphanage that was brown from rooftop to bottom. The orphanage was large from inside and out. It was right next to the bank. Maria was lonely during childhood because all the other children were jealous of her getting all the attention while they got whipped for being bad. Maria remembered that she would always help the maids with their chores. She got extra servings of supper for being so kind. She had a nice warm bed. She had always remembered her manners. She would remember that she would sit down by the bank that was right next to the orphanage and play with the rocks because she was lonely. Maria looked at her reflection in a puddle of water and was shocked because she heard some other village girls say that she had an ugly face. "Oh dear, they're right," said Maria. Then in an empty alley that Maria had always slept in, she had found a scarf that was made in a pink and orange checkered satin pattern, and it was very soft. They won't treat me bad if they don't see my face," said Maria as she picked up the satin scarf and wrapped it around her face. She began walking through the village markets with the scarf wrapped around her face. She walked around the village in the scarf, but everyone in the village recognized her, even her closest friend Milo, who worked at the bakery. Milo had hazel eyes. He had a skinny light gray body and a faded pink nose, clear whiskers, and a black mustache underneath his nose. He also always wore a white apron. Milo loved to bake. He would bake pastries and bread. No one in Surrey, England, not even Maria, knew where he came from, but all they knew that he has been in a bakery worker since he was a young child. He spoke in a Yorkshire accent. Maria, my dear, why are you hiding your face under the scarf? Asked Milo. I can't take the girls my age treating me like I'm not one of them, said Maria. Oh, my dear, you are more beautiful than those girls, and you can win the heart of any male that you desire, said Milo as he removed the scarf from Maria's face. I don't understand, said Maria. Haven't you noticed all the village boys staring at you? Asked Milo. No, not at all. Why? Asked Maria. Because they think that you are very pretty, said Milo. Thank you, Milo, said Maria as she walked off with her head turned with a smile on her face. That afternoon, Maria heard an announcer come into the village. He wore a green beret, he had a brown sash, he had green eyes, he had a red nose. The announcer also had a skinny black body. The announcer carried a note in his hand that was about a wealthy family who had planned to marry their son off to a village, to a beautiful young lady of the son's choice, and the law was that if the father or son had died in daughter's childhood, the eldest or the only child is to wed. Well, Maria, this is the last chance to find out what that desire is, said Milo as he went back into the bakery to get a broom. What do you mean? Asked Maria. Yeah, I mean that thou will probably have the chance to find true love, said Milo as he walked out of the bakery to sweep the mat that was just outside. Thank you for everything. You're probably right, said Maria. Maria smiled and waved goodbye to Milo as he waved back to her. Maria had always walked down by her childhood home every morning because her dear young friend Timothy lived right next door to the orphanage with his widowed mother, 3 brothers and 4 sisters. Timothy was like most children at a young age. Timothy was very shy, very curious, and he was afraid to be alone. When Timothy was a baby, his father died from pneumonia. Timothy spoke in a slight British accent, had brown eyes like his father did, a gray thin body like his mother who had green eyes and who always wore a pink bandana around her head with a purple poncho that she sewed. And every day Timothy would wear a red vest that his mother had sewn for him. And his brothers and sisters all would wear the same exact thing, except they wore blue, black, and green vests. And those were handmade by Timothy's mother too, and the girls would wear ribbons around their necks that were pink, purple, and baby blue. Maria waved to the family every day, and they would wave back. Maria, it is so good to see you, said Timothy as he ran up and gave her a hug. Dear Maria, you're so kind to us. How can we ever thank you? Asked Timothy's mother. Your kindness and friendship is all that I need, said Maria as she handed Timothy a large sack that had about more than a dozen apples inside. Then Maria walked off sadly, thinking how lucky that they must be to have a family. Maria was sad that she didn't have a family. In the afternoon, Maria was walking through the village markets. She stopped to wave to a close friend of hers who happened to be a fish seller. Her name was Robert. Robert was a dark gray mouse. He had green eyes. He spoke in a British accent. His body was very skinny. He basically always wore an apron, or a green apron, white satin gloves so that he wouldn't get slimy from picking up the fish heads that he cut off, and he would make some money by selling the fish heads to all the villagers and the fish bodies too. When Robert was a young child, he was sent to work at the fish markets away from the village of Yorkshire because he needed to make money for his family because his family was so poor that they couldn't afford to take care of him, and he hasn't seen them in 9 years. What Maria really liked about Robert is that he was the only village boy who only thought of her as his friend. When Maria was waving to Robert as he went back, Maria wasn't paying paying attention, and she slipped on a fish head and fell into Robert's barrel. A fish. The young village girls all laughed at her. "Are you hurt, Maria?" asked Robert, as he helped Maria out of the barrel that she had fallen in. "I'm fine, thank you, Robert," said Maria. "You're probably going to smell like fish for a few days. But don't worry, I know how to get rid of the smell," said Robert, as he gave Maria a jar that had rose petals in it mixed together with water. "What am I supposed to do with this?" asked Maria. "You're supposed to bathe in it," said Robert. Then Robert saw all of the fish that he had gotten from the stream were all over the floor. Maria felt bad and helped Robert pick up the fish. "Thank you, Maria," said Robert. "It's the least that I could do," said Maria. The next day, the other village girls who were Maria's age all pointed and laughed at her. "Look, it's the girl that smells like fish," said one village girl. Tears ran down Maria's face as she ran away crying into an empty shed. "Dear Maria, what is the matter?" asked Timothy's mother. Then Timothy saw that the village girls were making fun of Maria. "You should be ashamed of yourselves, treating someone very special like she was different from you," said Timothy, as he got furious at the girls. "Go pick on someone your own size," said Timothy's youngest brother. The village girls walked away with angry looks on their faces. "Come on out, my dear Maria. They're gone," said Timothy's mother. "I stood up to those mean girls for you," said Timothy. Maria had walked out of the shed, and as she wiped her tears from her eyes. "How lucky am I to have you and your family as my friends like you and your family," said Maria as she picked up Timothy and kissed him on his cheek. "She kissed you," said Timothy's youngest sister. She and the others began to point and laugh at Timothy. But Timothy's mother made them put their fingers down. Timothy wiped his cheek with his arm. "That's not kind. A kiss is one of the most special gifts that anyone is ever given. And by true love from a family member ordering to be a reward for being kind." Maria had just gave Timothy a kiss as a way of saying thank you for standing up for her, and that was sweet, said Timothy's mother. Maria gave Timothy and the others some apples that she had bought at the market, and she gave one to each of them. "Thank you," said Timothy. "Oh no, thank you," said Maria. Yeah, they waved goodbye, and she waved bye back. Okay, I'm going to stop the video here because it's getting kind of long, so I will see you in the next part. Thank you for watching. Bye.